Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome to the stage distinguished Toastmaster and our contest leader, Kathleen Kuznicki.
Speech Contest. You agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages may be shared with other meeting participants and will be recorded by Toastmasters International. So yeah, don't talk crap about somebody online, please. Thank you. All right. Who may be using the recording in the future as it sees fit. Your remote attendance hereby, this is good, the lawyer's reading this, by the way, right? Hereby discharges Toastmasters International from all the claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including, but not limited to, any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Do you all understand it, or should I go over and talk to you about it more as a lawyer? You're all good? Okay. All right. The Toastmasters International Organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. The purpose of speech contests are to provide an opportunity for speakers to improve their speaking abilities and an opportunity for other Toastmasters to learn by observing proficient speakers. And we have a jam-packed agenda today with 7 contestants for our Humorous Speech Contest. All right. Now, before we get started, I was told I had to be funny, make you laugh. I'm like, I'm a lawyer. I can't be funny. That's funny. Yeah. And truly speaking, I think our contestants are going to have a tough time topping some of the derby hats here today. So what I think we should do is have an informal vote by applause of who has the best derby hat. So everybody who has a derby hat, please stand up. All right. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to lift off the name of somebody. You raise your hand and then applause, and the loudest applause will be the winner, okay? Oh, 4 of them. Get up front then so everybody can see you. All right. All right. And I have, and in no particular order, Addie Kurtanich. Ooh, kind of loud, not real loud. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Melissa McGavick. Ooh. Oh, that's going to be tough to beat. Althea Richmond. Oh, Althea. Alita. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wrote the wrong. Alita Richmond. And Mary Allen Vornbrock. All right. All right. Who do we think was the winner now? Melissa. Congratulations. You are the winner of the Triple Crown Derby hat. Woo! All right. All right. That's right. Melissa will be getting a glass of wine from me later. Okay. All right. All right. So just a few housekeeping items before we get started. To facilitate a smoothly run contest, please remain quiet in person or on mute if you are online during the contest with your cameras turned off. Please do not take photographs, video recordings, or screenshots during any of the contestants' speeches. Video recording is allowed only for people who have received advanced approval from the contest chair, and nobody did, so uh-oh. The contestants have been briefed. Mr. Chief Judge Mike Dalton, have the contestant officials been briefed?
Madam Chairman, the judges, the timers, the counters have all been briefed. What do you say we have a contest?
Yes. All right. Now, for sound quality and control purposes, so that Stephen can make sure the contestants are all equally heard, I'm going to have them briefly read the Toastmasters International Organization's mission until he tells them to stop. And then again, contestants, please make sure you vary your speech, your vocal variety when you do the speech. So I'm going to introduce our contestants. Oh, I really should give you the speaking order first. I am so sorry. I had that mixed up there. All right. So the speaking order for everybody. Contestant 1, Kirk Weber. Contestant 2, Nathaniel Sandstrom. Contestant 3, Donna Morosco. Contestant 4, Elisa Schneider. Contestant 5, Michael Ross. Contestant 6, Christopher Sokolowski. Contestant 7, Nate Stevens. I will re-list the contestants for you. Contestant 1, Kirk Weber. Contestant 2, Nathaniel Sandstrom. Contestant 3, Donna Morosco. Contestant 4, Alicia Schneider. Contestant 5, Michael Ross. Contestant 6, Christopher Sokolowski. Contestant 7, Nate Stevens. Here, have you go up there, go up and read, and then I'll introduce you after you go back to me.
Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. To facilitate a smoothly run contest, please remain quiet in person or on mute if online during the contest with your cameras turned off. Show the slide to the audience.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I gave you the wrong one.
How did I read them?
You sounded, did he sound good? Sounded good. Okay.
All right,
give it
there you
back.
go.
I am so sorry. Everybody else will be reading the mission. I apologize.
It's all good.
Okay. Kirk Weber. It's a crappy job. It's a crappy job. Kirk Weber.
Jing, you have played the Can You Beat This game, right? We all have. We've all had that person when we relate a story, looks at you and says, that was interesting, but wait till you hear this. Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters, today I want to share with you my granddaddy of them all in the Can You Play This, Can You Top This game. It started 43 years ago. I was an intern at the National College of Chiropractic, and this was a really big deal. You see, I was no longer behind a desk after 20 years of sitting there. I was actually getting to do stuff like wear a stethoscope around my neck. I got to run around and carry tools. I was doing real doctor stuff. That was kind of interesting because you'd think it was all fun and games, but it wasn't. As an intern, there were some drawbacks. We didn't have insurance, we didn't have a license, so we were under the supervision of a clinician. And I will never forget my clinician's name. His name was Dr. Allison Henson. And he was the scariest man on the planet. The man stood about that tall. He had shoulders that were, about like that. But he came down to about a 32-inch waist. He looked like an upside-down pyramid on two legs, walking around. He had a handlebar mustache that stuck out at least this far from each side. And when he'd get excited and he'd talk really, really, really fast, the mustache would bounce up and down. Always reminding me of Yosemite Sam on the old Bugs Bunny cartoon. Now, Dr. Henson had an affinity for a particular therapy that he really, truly felt every patient coming through his clinic should enjoy. And that therapy was colonic irrigation. Now, I do see a couple faces out there where you may not be 100% sure what that is. I've got you covered. I'm a doctor. In colonic irrigation, water is introduced to the patient rectally. The water flows in backwards through the rectum, through the sigmoid colon, up the descending colon, back across the transverse colon, and down the ascending colon to where it meets the small bowel. There the water flow is reversed, and as it comes back out, it brings with it material that may have been there for who knows how long. Now, Dr. Henson told us that every patient doing that would be relieved of pressure, would have a clean bowel. He also told us that it would stimulate a neurotransmitter in your pleasure center of your brain, making you feel euphoric. As interns, we weren't buying that story. As interns, it was our duty to do that crappy job. On the day that I'm speaking of, we had a new patient come to the clinic, and I was assigned to take care of her. Lovely woman, beautiful woman, a little short, a little round, but aren't we all? So she presented with a little bit of a sinus congestion and headaches. Now, I was super excited over this because I usually saw stuff that was necks, low backs, shoulders, and knees. A headache and a sinus congestion, that was a little different. Plus, there was no way Henson was connecting this to that. Wasn't going to happen. I went through my paperwork, did the exam, took my stuff down to Dr. Henson's office, presented the papers to him, and immediately snapped a parade rest. Remember, we were petrified of that man. So I stood there as he perused the paperwork. He looked it all over, and he looks up and he says, "Weber, you did an excellent job, son. But I noticed there's no colonic irrigation on this treatment plan." Had I the 43 years of experience that I have now, I would have told him what it was that I was thinking. Dude, there's no connection! But instead, I stood there with my mouth hanging open, looking like he had told me that I needed to go have a colonic before I gave my patient a colonic. I trotted off to the treatment room to find my patient and explain to this lovely woman what I was about to do to her. I explained the procedure, and then I made up a cockamamie story as to how it was going to benefit her. And the woman accepted the treatment plan. So we were in the colonic room, and I was preparing to do this procedure. I had pulled up the equipment to make the connection, and on the end of it is a little tiny piece of plastic about the size of my pinky finger, and I had put a lot of lubricating jelly on there because in previous experience I had learned that patients don't scream as much when I do that. My appliance found its target, and I was pretty excited because things were running along, I thought, rather smoothly. I thought we were doing quite well. Water in, material out. Water in, material out. I thought, we're doing swimmingly. We're doing okay. So that's when the wheels fell off the wagon. First, there was the gasp. It was a glorious gasp. Then there came the sound of a champagne cork being liberated from a bottle. I looked to the right, and there went my equipment, followed by a stream of material that has no business being airborne. My doctor skills kicked back in. I saw my patient was in horrible distress. So in an effort to help, I reached down underneath her neck with my left hand, reached my right hand across her legs, spun her up into a seated position so she could beat a hasty retreat to where she needed to go. I thought I might have heard the Chicago Mounted Police coming up to save her. Instead, I heard the sound of a wet balloon emptying its contents. I spent the rest of the day in the clinic laundry watching my clothes move from washer to dryer, comforted by the fact that Henson told me I never had to do that crappy job again. Toastmasters.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has passed.
The Toastmasters International Organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. The purpose of speech contests are to provide an opportunity for speakers to improve their speaking abilities and an
Nathaniel Sandstrom, being myself. Being myself, Nathaniel Sandstrom.
Thank you, contest director. As I looked out over the small crowd in the back room of Pete's candy store, my heart started pounding. But I took the mic anyway, and I leaned in and I said, hey, I'm Nate. This was 2010. I'd only been playing guitar a few months at that point, but my friend Dave, the bartender at Pete's, and Chris, the host of the open mic there, had decided it was time for me to perform. Now, looking back on that, I don't exactly know what they were basing that on. Neither of them had ever heard me play guitar. In fact, I'd never played any of my songs for anyone, anywhere, ever. But I was a sucker for encouragement, and possibly, maybe just a little bit, deluded about my abilities. Which is probably why a couple weeks later I threw caution to the wind and I put my name down on the list to play the open mic at Pete's. Because that's just the kind of guy I was. A little reckless, a little dangerous. That's also how I found myself on stage, introducing myself to a room full of strangers while simultaneously experiencing an unexpected moment of clarity about my abilities. To play guitar, to carry a tune, and definitely about doing them both at the same time. What was I thinking? As I stood there, I could actually feel my mouth go dry. I stared out at the room. The room stared back at me. Neither of us said a word. How was it going to get out of this situation? Now, I don't know how long I stood there trying to answer that question, but I came up empty. I want to take a second here. You know what's happening, right? I am about to make a mistake that could easily have been avoided because there was a way out of that situation. In fact, there were several. For example, I could have just leaned in and said, hey, I got out over my skis a little bit here. I'm not ready to do this. Jumped off that stage, scurried back to the bar, and pretended none of this had ever happened. But that wasn't me. So instead of that, I managed to choke out the words, and I've got an original I want to play. It's called I Believe. But as I said that, I started to. I knew this song. I wrote this song. I'd practiced this song 1,000 times. I could play this song without looking at my hands. That's how well I knew it. This is going to be fine, I thought. And I reached up and I grabbed the pick from between the strings of my guitar, and I struck that first chord, and oh my God, sounds I'd never heard before coming from my guitar. I'm so sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. If it's okay with you, I'd like to start again. My hands were shaking. I could barely handle the pick. But this time, miraculously, I made it through the intro. When I got to that first verse, I just started singing. I believe in the power of science and reason to answer all the questions unknown. And I believe that I trailed off. I forgot the words to my own song. I tried again. I failed again. It was an unmitigated disaster, a train wreck, more than anyone could come back from. So I did what any sane person would do in that situation. I gave up. But just like I couldn't get off that stage even though I knew this would happen, I couldn't sit down now after it had, because that wasn't me. So instead, I stopped trying to play guitar. I stopped trying to remember the words to my song. And I just started talking. Improvising into the mic. Ad-libbing a pretty funny monologue about failure and humiliation. Now, I don't remember much of what I said that night, but after a few minutes, I found a way to wrap it up. And as I did so, people in that room started clapping for me, for that. Very confusing, but a huge relief. Thank you very much, I said. You've been a great audience. I'll be here all week. And I flew off that stage. Now, while I was putting my guitar away in the hallway between the back room and the bar at Pete's, Chris, the host of the open mic, came up and he patted me on the head and he said, "It's great you did that." I just looked up at him and shook my head. And he said, "No, seriously. But next time, just start with the jokes." Yeah, right. But next time, that's exactly what I did. Because that's who I am. Maybe a little reckless, a little dangerous, but I got a few laughs out of it. Thank you.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has passed.
Toastmasters International Organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective
All right,
communicators.
we're good. Donna Marosco. It happened to me. It happened to me, Donna Marosco.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. Today's topic is a very serious one. After 22 years of marriage and 5 years of being single after that, I was about to embark into a world I knew nothing about. Uncharted water, unfamiliar territory. This was the world of online dating. Scary place. But my hope here today, fellow Toastmasters and guests, is that by providing you with some of my own personal experiences, things that happened to me, that perhaps I can help you or someone that you know to avoid some of the mistakes and the pitfalls that I encountered. I have a few tips for you. First piece of advice. Do not judge a book by its cover. Do not get too excited by the profile pictures that you see online. Case in point, Firefighter Rick. I had names for all of the people that I met online. Firefighter Rick had great profile pictures. He had a picture of himself in his fire chief uniform. He had nice brown hair, kind of slicked back a little bit. He was handsome. I thought he was cute. The problem with Firefighter Rick? He didn't like to talk. We could barely hold a conversation together. Firefighter Rick's idea of a great date with me was sitting on my couch in total silence, watching TV. He liked to watch shows about how things are made. He really liked learning about carburetors and how carburetors are made. Carburetors. Well, that wasn't going to cut it with me. So the flame went out on Firefighter Rick. Whew. It happened to me. Next piece of advice. Do not assume that anyone online is telling the truth. Case in point, Bubble Bob. Bubble Bob and I spoke online for several weeks. He seemed smart, he seemed funny, he seemed nice. After about 6 or 7 weeks, I suggested to him it was time for us to meet in person. Bubble Bob didn't think this was such a great idea. Why? Because Bubble Bob lied to me. Bubble Bob was married. The bubble popped on Bubble Bob. It happened to me. Third piece of advice. Do not assume that anyone online is necessarily looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They might actually be looking for a father figure, a mother figure, a maid, or perhaps even a cook. Case in point, Puzzle Man. Puzzle Man on our second date brought over a list of words to me. It was a 2-page list of foods. What's this? I asked. He said, this is a list of foods that I like to eat. And I would like if you would make these, and please avoid the ones on page 2 that I do not like. What? Puzzle Man brought over to my house over 40 pounds of cabbage on a Sunday afternoon, asked me to chop up the cabbage. He brought over crocks and barrels and put it in my garage to make sauerkraut. I couldn't get the smell out of my house for weeks. There were puzzle pieces missing in the puzzle. It happened to me. Fourth piece of advice. Do not assume that anyone online is sane. Case in point, Biker Bob. Biker Bob could not tell me his last name. Biker Bob would not tell me his occupation. Secret government spy confidential stuff, you know? Right. Biker Bob told me he was abducted by aliens. Biker Bob got very angry with me because we were speaking on the phone, and at the same time I was emptying my dishwasher. He heard a couple of the glasses clink together, and he thought this was very, very rude that I should be talking on the phone while I should have been, and emptying my dishwasher while I should have been giving him my undivided attention. The next day, I got a scathing email from Biker Bob saying that he thought he had found his diamond. But no, he found cubic zirconia. I was cubic zirconia. I kind of like cubic zirconia. After this, I decided it was time to take a little break, step back a little bit, maybe hang out with my girlfriends and my cats for a while. And this went along just fine for the next several years until my cat Arnold got sick, passed away, and crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. This made me very, very sad. So once again, I said, okay, I guess I'll go back on one more time into the crazy world of online dating. There was a profile that caught my eye. It was a guy with a really big smile, and his arms were in the air like this, and he was riding a camel. And I said, well, this looks kind of interesting. This guy looks kind of wild. I think I'd like to meet him. Fifth piece of advice. Always meet in a public place. And never let your first meetup be for any more than 30 minutes. I suggest meet maybe at a coffee shop somewhere, or maybe meet for dessert somewhere after dinner. You never want to commit to a movie or a dinner with someone. If things start to go sideways, you need a way out of there. In the case of the wild man and I, we met at Eaton Park for dessert. I liked him. He was funny, he was nice, he was cute. He was conversational. On the way out of the restaurant, however, he started to exhibit some unusual behaviors. He started making some barking noises and some meowing noises. And I thought, well, this is maybe just a little bit odd, but maybe not totally crazy, so maybe I'll go out with him again. So I did, and then I went out with him again, and again, and again, and now 5 years later, I'm still with this wild man, Jack. It happened to me. It could happen to you. Thank you.
Mr. Hollings, could you please help pick up? All right, please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timers, please let me know when 1 minute has passed. Alicia, can you see the timer?
Yes, I can. Yep, I see the colors.
All right. To check your audio and video, can you please read the Toastmasters International mission?
The Toastmasters International organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators
You're
and
good. All right. Alicia Schneider, the best kept secret. The best kept secret, Alicia Schneider.
If you had to choose, would you rather encounter spiders, snakes, or stalkers? You may be thinking, none of the above. Well, it might surprise you that 25% of Americans, according to the Wall Street Journal, would rather encounter spiders, snakes, and stalkers rather than come face to face with a table topic master. Not that we're making any judgments about our illustrious functionaries. Contest chair, fellow impromptu speakers. Have you ever been scared to take a topic? We all know impromptu speaking can be unnerving because you can't prepare in advance. But what if I told you that Toastmasters has this best kept secret? It uses magic to make all your fears disappear. How do I know? My impromptu speaking journey begins the night of March 1st of 2020, the time I enter those Toastmaster doors for the very first time. And if you'd been there, you would see this conference room with 15 other people. You would hear the chairs scraping as everyone takes their seat. And then you would see me sitting there in awe, watching as each speaker gets up on that stage and presents with clarity, confidence, and charisma. And I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could do that someday. And then the Toastmaster announces that here at Toastmasters, we have a section where even the guests can participate. It's called Table Topics. And I'm thinking, wait a second. I came here to practice my public speaking, but, well, I didn't expect I'd have to speak. My palms start to sweat. My Fitbit beeps. You're exercising too hard. Slow down your heart rate. What do? I sit there praying. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. And they don't. For the next 6 months, I escape unscathed. Still alive. I'm like Scheherazade, that Arabian princess who goes before the king. And every night, I'm granted one more day to live. Now, after a few months, I join Toastmasters and I get comfortable with prepared speeches because, well, they're prepared. And thanks to COVID, you can visit any club in the world. So I start traveling virtually. My very first visit is to Glasgow, Scotland, and I'm ready with my prepared speech. But guess what happens? What do we do with the guests at Toastmasters? Call on them for a table topic? I get picked. My question is, what was the worst moment of your life? I'm thinking this is the worst moment. I'm like a deer caught in the headlights. Can't think of what to say. And my Fitbit reads, calling 911. I don't remember what I said. Something about praying that the ground would open up and swallow me whole. All I know is that those Toastmasters from across the pond are going to be hopping on a plane any second, tracking me down to come egg my car. But that's when I realize I don't have to worry about failing because I never have to see these people again. So the next day, I put the Glasgow incident behind me and I head over to London. But guess what happens? I get picked again. I spend the next 90 seconds talking about the wonders of paper mache, except that I have never paper mache'd in my life. Wow, thanks, virtual. Now I can get humiliated all over the world. I head over to India because third time's the charm, right? Wrong. Table topic master has me in his sights. Elisa, if you could eliminate one food so that no one would have to eat it ever again, what would it be? My answer? Is table topics a food? I bet by now I'm a star on YouTube, best known as the world's worst impromptu speaker. That's it. I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel, and I'm just about to quit when it hits me. I'm still alive. The Toastmasters aren't joking after the meeting about my ridiculous response. There's no eggs on my car. I finally wake up and smell the bacon, and then I wish I had eggs. Because no one is booing. They're cheering. I go back to those first clubs, and I watch as the magic unfolds right before my eyes. The gallant Glasgow Toastmasters are saying, "Come on, Elisa, take a topic. You can do this." The London lecturers are telling me that was a great impromptu speech. And the incredible India Toastmasters are saying, Elisa, you are shining on stage. They really believe in me. I start taking topics. My weirdest dream? Pretty much like a Netflix show, except with a few more unicorns and fewer plot twists. Oh, what vegetable would I be? A potato? Because just like me, it can be mashed, fried, or just left to sit on the couch. I learned to speak up, to believe in myself, to know that I have something to say. And that's when I realized that when you have a team willing to cheer you on, applaud your effort, and see you succeed, there is nothing that is impossible. And that's when I realized that Toastmasters is magic. Because when I finally check on my fears, they have disappeared. And in case you're wondering how I just did that, remember, a good magician never reveals her secrets. It was Toastmasters. Today, thanks to that magic, I love impromptu speaking. I raise my hand every chance I get, and I sit there praying, please pick me, please pick me, please pick me. My palms start to sweat, and my Fitbit beeps. But this time it says, you're having a great day. That's right. Thanks to virtual rooms all around the world, even if I don't know what the question will be, I know exactly what to say. Because friends, here at Toastmasters, we don't get laughed at or booed. We're in this together. We're a team, here to conquer our fears, defeat our insecurities, and have some fun while we're at it. And if we take a topic and fall on our face, we just give the ground a high five and get back up again. And when you have this type of support, what can't you do? Anything is possible, even magic. Contest chair.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has passed.
The Toastmasters International Organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. The purpose of the speech contests are to provide an opportunity for speakers to
Okay,
improve.
we're good. Thank you. Michael Ross, decluttered. Decluttered. Michael Ross.
Just a couple of days ago, I was out for my walk. I stopped at my daughter's house. Lives right down the street from me. I thought I'd pop in, see how things were going. I found her in her kitchen. She had all of the cabinet doors open, and everything in that kitchen was on the counters. Are we moving? Oh, Dad, I'm so glad that that's what you said, and that's exactly how you said it, because that's what it's supposed to look like. Yes, yes. Well, Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, guests, if you had to do a deep declutter, how would you go about doing it? According to my daughter Angelica, you act like you're going to move. She says, though, it's all up in your head. It's just pretend. She would tell me, I know I have too much stuff. I got to get rid of it, but I can't. I love it all too much. So I just put it out in front of me and decide what means the most to me. What can I live without? What do I have to have? And that goes back up in the cabinets. I'm thinking that might work. That sounds like a really good idea. I wonder if it works on mental decluttering. I have had this thought in the back of my mind. It wants to come out, but it just can't bite its way through all the clutter. I'm thinking, well, while I worry about that, I have some real clutter at the time that I need to take care of. See, I had just gone through a move, but it wasn't a pretend move like my daughter's. This was a real move with boxes and everything. Now, I got to get rid of these boxes. They've been sitting in my living room for literally months. I guess I'll work on that, and hopefully the mental declutter will clear up too. Well, I get to my boxes, and I open the first box, and out jumps this book. I said, Michael, when are you going to read me again? Do you have any idea how long it's been since we sat down and read to each other? I said, book, you're absolutely right. It's just been months and months since I last read you. But let's face it and be fair about it. You've been in that box. I didn't know you were in there. I'm not even sure where half of my socks and underwear are yet. We'll get around to it sometime. I'm sorry. Don't you talk to your books? Oh, our books are our friends. This particular book actually not only is a friend, it was written by a friend of mine, Bill Fife. Really nice guy. He's someone, though, he has a little trouble with clutter. How can I put this nicely? Bill's Canadian. He has some little quirks. One of them is he's fascinated with you. Every story, you. Every page, you. Almost every sentence, you is there. Oh, I'm sorry, not you, as you guys are there. I mean you, the letter U is there. There where it does not need to be. Middle of words like flavor and color. Harbor. Harbor's a good example. I spell harbor H-A-R-B-O-R. Harbor. Bill spells harbor H-A-R-B-O-U-R. Harbor. What is that you doing in there? Harbor, 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 harbor. But my brain takes over. It knows what the U is doing in there. I see it on the page, and all of a sudden, here's an example for you. The large ship filled the small harbor. Harbor? Harbor. Where did that come from? Where did it come from? It came from the U. I don't know what to say. I know what Bill would say. Bill would say, oh, Michael, he is attempting to deliver a speech with humor, eh? So I spent an hour, finished emptying that box, put my books away, got to the next box, and to the next one, to the next one. What was I talking about? I went in box, books, moving, clutter. Clutter! That's what we started talking about. You want to know, how did my daughter's pretend move go anyway? How much empty room does she now have? So I asked her that very question. Angelica, how much empty space do you have now? None. But I found some really great new empty boxes. And everybody knows you can never have too many cardboard boxes. Yeah, I know. It sounded like a good idea. It actually reminded me a lot of the Shinto system of cleaning, which really is very effective. You know what the Shinto system of cleaning is, right? No? All right, if you want to know if you should hold on to something, you literally hold on to it. You take it in your hand. Oh, you bring it up close to you. If it brings joy to your heart, a smile to your face, that's a keeper. You hold on to that forever. On the other hand, if you take something and it does nothing, no feeling, no joy, no thrill, no excitement, get rid of it. Put it out of your life. You don't need it anymore. Out with it. Be gone with it. And all of a sudden, the clutter cleared in my head. After all this time, I finally figured it out. I know how I became single again. I was decluttered. Madam Contest Chair.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has passed.
Oh, I don't get the legal briefing? Okay. The Toastmasters International organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. The purpose of speech contests are to provide an opportunity
We're
for...
good. Thank you.
Okay.
Christopher Sokolowski, The Perils of Indoor Painting, a Homeowner's Odyssey. The Perils of Indoor Painting, a Homeowner's Odyssey. Christopher Sokolowski.
Madam Contest Chair, fellow homeowners, and potential DIY disaster makers, welcome to what I like to call the Great Indoor Adventure, a journey in home painting. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Painting, well, that's easy. Well, let me tell you that you must have never experienced the roller coaster that is painting the inside of your house. It all begins with a trip to the hardware store. Ah, the hardware store, the place where dreams are born and where wallets go to die. You go to the store thinking you just need 2 cans of paint. You end up with 3 shopping carts full of items, including a neon pink flamingo lawn ornament. Don't ask me how. These things just happen. And then there's choosing a color. Who knew that there were 50 shades of beige? And deciding between tranquil dawn and sunset breeze requires a degree in color science that I clearly do not possess. I stood at the paint counter for so long that the clerk came up and asked me if I was colorblind. When you get home, it's time to begin your preparation. You start by moving the furniture, and you discover things you thought you had lost decades ago. There's my high school ring, and the colony of dust bunnies that's evolved into a new species. And there's taping the edges. I've wrapped fewer things on Christmas Eve. And let's talk about clothing. The paint clothes that you put on are so old, they might qualify to be an antique. The hat you're wearing has seen more battles than a seasoned artist. And the shoes, well, they're covered in so much paint, they're now just part of the decor. And despite all the clothing you might put on, some paint splatters will find that virgin territory in that one sliver of exposed skin that you forgot to cover up. As you continue on, you're ready to go, and then you realize you forgot something. You forgot the primer. Back to the hardware store it is. This time to get primer and another unnecessary lawn ornament. This time, a garden gnome. As you get home, it's time to choose where to start, but you realize you have no idea where you're going to start. You look and decide where you're going to paint the corners, the left wall, you're going to paint the trim. You're standing at the bottom of Mount Everest and all you're armed with, instead of a climbing pack, is a paintbrush and an overwhelming sense of existential dread. Finally, you decide to begin to paint. Your first coat goes on what you think is pretty nicely, until you realized you missed a spot, and another, and another, and another. Soon, you're playing a game of whack-a-mole with missed paint spots, and the spots are winning. Oh, and don't get me started regarding paint trips. Paint trips, well, they're like ninjas. You don't spot them until they've already done their damage. And try to wipe off the smear turns into a mess that haunts your dreams. And just when you're painting, for some reason, your family becomes the biggest obstacle. Whatever room you choose to paint becomes the most popular room in the house. Oh, I just need to get one thing. You'll hear it's the anthem of the day. And you'll be interrupted more times than there are commercials during a football game. You'll start and find out that as each person walks through and back, they throw up a huge breeze, which draws up every single piece of lint and dust on the floor onto your fresh coat of paint on the walls. And let's talk about this. Who designed the paint cans? Who was the evil genius that created this puzzle? Open up the can, and paint splatters everywhere. Try to close it, and you seal it down with your tears of frustration. At this point, you think the fumes might be getting to you. You start having deep conversations with your paintbrush, and you start naming all the spots on your overalls. Now, it might be a good time as ever to take a break. It might be a good time to have a conversation with that colony of dust bunnies. At this point, you start to remove the tape. And you discover, to your horror, that the paint has bled through. Clean edges, more like a toddler's art project. And that's the point when you decide to get creative. Let's make an accent wall, you say. That is when your project turns into a Picasso-esque disaster. Your attempt at a stylish stripe right across the wall turns out looking like a seismograph reading. And when you're cleaning up, you'll find splatters everywhere for the next 2 weeks. You'll find them on your toaster, you'll find them on the ceiling, and you'll find them on your cat. And as you look around the room, you'll find that you've missed entire sections of the wall because you've become increasingly distracted by the sarcastic comments from your significant other. Honey, did you mean to paint the cat? Oh, why, yes, Karen. It's the latest trend in pet grooming. As you think you're finished, you step back and and look at the paint that you've done and think, you hate the color. What looked like Tranquil Dawn on the paint card now looks like Swamp Monster on your living room walls. So you sit back and think to yourself, looking at your mess on the floor, why did I even start this? Your room looks like a Jackson Pollock painting, and you've developed a personal vendetta against the color beige. You step back and think, I'll get to this next weekend, I'm going to take a break. But deep down inside, you know that's never going to happen. Your half-finished project will remain a testament to your ambitious, but ultimately failed DIY spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, painting your home is like going on a roller coaster blindfolded. You start off thinking it's a good idea, but halfway through, you're just praying for it to end. Thank you, and remember, if all else fails, there's always wallpaper. Madam Contest Chair.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has passed.
Opening remarks continued. The Toastmasters International organization's mission is to empower individuals to become...
You sound good, Nate. Nate Stevens, Car Talk. Car Talk, Nate Stevens.
You might not be able to see this, but my car up here has a very special feature. For on the front, sides, and rear, there is a magnet that attracts all the bad drivers out there. Fellow drivers, passengers, contest chair, there are bad drivers everywhere. Well, if you drove here this morning, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're all over the place. In fact, there are 3 types of drivers you really need to watch out for. The student driver, the aggressive driver, and the slow poke. These are also the 3 types of driving we do throughout our lives. We have to start somewhere, and that's as a student driver. You know who they are immediately because on the backs of their car, they all have that sign, "Student driver, be patient." It should read, "Student driver, be entertained." Who doesn't like watching a student driver try to parallel park for the first time? Only 2 wheels on the curb this time. I shouldn't laugh. I know what it's like learning how to drive. It's nerve-wracking. All those buttons and knobs, rules of the road, and somebody sitting right next to you telling you exactly what to do all the time. Well, there's one thing a student driver all does the same way the first time, and that's how they get to a stop sign. How they ease into the intersection, come to a complete stop. Look left, look right, look left, look right. Wait 3 seconds before proceeding. This is why they have that sign in the back warning everybody this is going to take a while. Thankfully, a student driver gains enough confidence and experience where they can take their driver's exam. I remember when I took mine, I was convinced that not only would I pass this, I would be considered the best driver they had ever seen. As I'm waiting there, I look in the right rear view mirror, the one that says, "Objects in mirror are closer than they appear." It rhymes. As I'm waiting, I see this state trooper looking fella coming. He opens the car door, slams down next to me, trembling like crazy, and he looks at me. "Are you all right?" And I told him, "I thought you'd be bigger." It wasn't the right thing to say, and he told me to proceed. I'm going as carefully I can through the course, maintaining the exact right speed limit. He tells me, "Turn left at the stop." I get up to the stop sign, I turn left. "What are you doing?" "Oh, I turned left." "Well, you didn't stop." "Well, you didn't tell me to." Needless to say, I didn't pass. However, I passed the next time. All right the time after that. But I proved to the world that I was now proficient in navigating a parking lot. I was young. I had places to go, people to see, things to do. And not only that, I realized I knew the rules of the road, and if you got in my way, I'll teach you a lesson. Oh, I changed. I became the aggressive driver because I had to get to that stoplight before everybody else. And I took all kinds of chances, speeding along, including this one time I'm on a highway, passing all those silly fools going the speed limit, until I see the flashing lights. I pull over. They never told me what to do about these things in driver's ed. However, I had a friend that told me the way to get out of a speeding ticket is to cry. Apparently, that does not work after you get the ticket. You'd assume that I would have slowed down, and I did for about 3 minutes. But I had all kinds of places to go, and the whole world was mine, and I interpreted things the way I wanted to, including road signs. They were just merely suggestions, including stop signs. It's actually short for stoptional. Maybe I'll stop, maybe I won't. I've got places to go. However, there are times when you just can't go where you want to because somebody in front of you is ambling along. Oh, it drives me crazy. In my neighborhood, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. Without fail, I am behind somebody going 15. I live exactly 1 mile from the main road. Do you know how long it takes to drive 1 mile when you're going 15 miles an hour? 3 hours. I know the math doesn't add up, but it feels like that. But they think they're courteous with that nice little collection of baseball caps for you to enjoy. Good thing I'll never end up like that. Except one day, I notice I feel a little stiff and I can't open the car door when it's windy out. And I realize I'm up to this stage in my life where I no longer have anywhere to go. I've no one to see. I've got nothing to do. And I notice things that I've never noticed before, especially when I'm driving. And I see that stop sign, and I've never seen how wonderful the red is. The angularity, the octagon, and how lovely that font is. Oh, come on, I'm having my moment here. Everyone's in such a hurry. Well, there you have it. The 3 types of bad drivers, and whether or not your car has a magnet for those. I want to remind everyone here, the next time you're ready to drive somewhere, please buckle up, breathe deep, and enjoy the ride. Madam Contest Chair.
Please remain quiet until all the ballots are collected by our chief judge and ballot counters. All right, now I get to do the fun part here. I get to interview our fabulous contestants. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. I'm going to be calling the contestants up in the order that they did the speeches, except for Nathaniel Sandstrom, because he's going to be in the international contest, so he'll get his interview later. So I'd like to call up Kirk Weber. Kirk Weber. All right. Please tell us what club you're representing today and why you joined Toastmasters.
I am from Butler's Early Birds 2255. Yes. And I joined because I have a vision of putting together a influencer program where I have a series of videos relating to chiropractic. I've written a book, so you can actually go online. You can go to Amazon, Chiropractic, $6. It's a great book, a lot of leadership. But what's going to happen from there is you buy the book, I give it to you for free for a $6 shipping and handling. I send you 2 or 3 videos, and if you really like it, for the low price of $300, I'll send you the course on video. And I thought that Toastmasters would be an excellent way for me to improve what it is that I do with speaking. That's why I'm not a big fan of online stuff. You look at the camera, you don't get anything back. I like to see your faces. So I thought this would really be a help, and now I'm hooked, because Toastmasters is more than just communicating. Toastmasters is leadership. Toastmasters is a lot of really cool people. So that's why I joined, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, so I have a very important question for you.
Sure.
Do you have a copyright attorney? Okay, sorry. Hey, got to drum up business where you can.
I do know a joke about sharks and attorneys, right?
No. We'll save that for later.
Okay.
All right, can you tell us about your favorite quote? Everything that has happened to me has happened to prepare me for this moment.
I can. A lot of different things, dark things that have happened in my life. And as I sit down every morning and I do my journaling, it came to me that everything that has happened to me has brought me to this moment. It's prepared me for this moment. And I reflect on that every morning, so that's my favorite quote. It's mine, but it's my favorite.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to shake hands here or there. Thank you. All right. Now I'd like to call up Donna Morosco. Donna Morosco. Actually, I didn't need this microphone. So please tell us what club you're representing today and what have you learned from Toastmasters?
I am from the South Hills Club 847. And what have I learned from Toastmasters? I have learned a lot about the extemporaneous speaking as the Toastmaster who spoke online. That was scary for me, and it still is a little bit scary for me. I was self-employed for 36 years and retired 2 years ago. But during that time, I had to talk with a lot of people, counsel people, meet with a lot of people. So I thought that I did become pretty good one-on-one with people if I was talking to 1 or 2 people. But get me in front of a crowd, that's a whole different thing. My hands start sweating and my voice starts quivering a little bit. And then the table topics, I have loved table topics. I also was afraid to do that for the first few months. But now I take on that challenge because it puts you on the spot. I love it.
Okay, and then your question. You wrote down for what inspires you most, which is nature, people that I love, learning, music, and travel. Which one of those actually inspires you the most?
I like all of those things. I'm probably inspired by the people in my life. I love the people in my life. I feel very blessed. So I love my daughter. She's online right now from Florida watching this. Yeah. So, and my daughter-in-law. So that impresses me. She's always supportive. And my beau that I talked about, Jack, of 5 years, is with me, and my brother. So my family is very, very important to me. And that enables me to enjoy all the other things like the travel and the music and things like that in my life.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right. Next is going to be our online contestant, Alicia Schneider. Yay, everyone give her a clap. I don't have to hand you the microphone. Can you please tell us what club you're representing and why you joined Toastmasters, besides to do all the table topics that you can?
Thank you. I am representing Helps on Smithfield. Woo-hoo. And I joined Toastmasters because I lost my voice due to depression. I have spent 25 years battling depression, and I was on a mission to not only create awareness about depression, but first find my voice so I could actually talk about what that's like and try to give hope and inspire other people who are struggling.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, it's her? Okay. Alicia, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're frozen. I don't know. Probably can't. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, then we'll go back and we'll do the next person. If she pops back on, we'll let her finish her thought. All right. I'd like to call up Michael Ross. Please tell us whose club you're representing today and tell us what you have learned from Toastmasters.
I am representing North Hills Toastmasters. I have learned from Toastmasters that it's never too late to get involved with anything. I was retired early. I retired because of medical reasons 12 years ago. And I have been in Toastmasters only for 12 months now. That gap in between had a lot of uncertainty for me. And one of the things that I knew I wanted to do was to communicate with other people and let them know that there's still more that can happen to you that's good. And Toastmasters has convinced me of that, yeah, I was on the right path and we're going to be able to do this.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you. All right. It says here you are the founding partner of the Rome Care, ROAM Care. Can you please tell us about that?
The Rome Care organization is a nonprofit organization. Our mission is really just to instill enthusiasm in people for their life, that the life is worth living. Every day is a special day. Every person is a special person. And we just try and make sure that everybody has the opportunity to remember that and recognize it and live that. We do that mostly through our online, romecare.org, with weekly blogs and motivation moments. But we'll also go out on the road if somebody wants us to give them a little in-person push to something. I'll do almost anything for a chicken dinner.
Okay, very good. Remind me to talk to you later. I got something to start here with you. Okay. Okay. Is Elisa, are you back online with us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about
So-
that.
Yeah, you
The
froze.
one
Finish your thought, and then I have a question to ask you then, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that I lost my voice from depression, and thanks to all that encouragement from Toastmasters, I was able to find my voice, get back up, and just put myself out there and start sharing the message. So I'm very grateful to Toastmasters. They've changed my life.
Okay. Now it says on here, inspires you. You're inspired by movies and biographies of people who succeeded against all odds. Can you tell us about one of those?
Wow, I've watched every new biography I come across. I take some inspiration from it. I recently watched Boys in the Boat, and it was about a rowing team. And it was during the Great Depression. These young men were facing a lot of odds. There was no money. They were going up against teams who had a lot more than they did. And yet they still won. And sometimes the greatest struggles also bring out our greatest strength. Because when you're struggling, you have to fight harder. And so then you learn to take on the odds, to show up no matter what, to make it happen. And for me, watching those biographies and learning about those stories has helped me to keep moving forward when I needed strength. Because if other people can do it, then so can I.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Now, next up is our favorite painter, Christopher Sokolowski. You know, you think you could have dressed up today for your speech.
Joke's on you. I get to wear a t-shirt and jeans. All of you are dressed up.
Yeah, and it is freaking hot in here. I don't know what they're doing. Oh my goodness. So please tell us whose club you're representing and why you joined Toastmasters.
Okay. I represent the Nittany Club, number 1299. Steve, Carly, no ooh, ah, crickets. Okay. Anyway, and I joined Toastmasters primarily for events like this, to see all the other people, to participate in speech contests, and for these gatherings, to attend those.
Okay.
That's another reason as well, yeah.
Yes.
Because my brother told me to.
Okay, so you have under hit interest in hobbies. You have home improvement, which we figured out, discovering new music, car repair. You might want to talk to Nate, and then saving money. Please tell us how saving money is a hobby or an interest.
For me, saving money, I just like to find all the different coupons, all the deals you can get online, everything else that you can do to just save that little bit of money. It feels like a big reward when you get up and you find that you save $1 less than everyone else. You're beating the system. That's my hobby there. And I want to bring up here that if you see a random person in the room, the Zoom room right now, hi, Mom. I appreciate you coming here to watch. She's always embarrassed. She wants to cheer me on, but she never wants to show who she is. She might embarrass her son. So if you ever see a random person in a Zoom room when I'm doing a speech or competing, say hi to my mom.
All right, thank you. And I'd like to call up Nate Stevens. If you want to drive up here, come on. All right, so please tell us what club you're representing today and what you've learned from Toastmasters.
I'm from the BPMI Club. One person knows what that is.
You have a fan.
It's a corporate club. And what I've learned from Toastmasters, I'd actually like to talk about this. It says Toastmasters International. I've, believe it or not, been a member in 4 different districts. I have moved many times, and the neat thing about Toastmasters is it's all over the world. No matter where you go, you will always find friendly faces and encouragement to try new things.
Okay. Now it says here under notable accomplishments, besides having numerous patents, which I will talk to you about later as a patent attorney, I'm very excited. It said you presented your dad's dissertation last year at a conference. Can you tell us about that?
I did. My dad wrote his dissertation many, many years ago. He wrote it about the musical composer Charles Avison. If that doesn't sound familiar, that's why my dad wrote about him. He is an English composer about the time of Handel, and many people don't know about him. He was up in northern England, and he was extremely popular in his day, but then things kind of died off. My dad did an incredibly detailed research for this. He actually went to England, he studied everything he could, and he wrote this book that is almost 400 pages long about everything about Charles Avison. Last year, I was at a musicology conference, and I had the opportunity to give his dissertation, which is tremendously interesting to me. Not only did I find out more about my dad because he had already passed away, but it was fascinating to share what he learned.
Okay, thank you. And just in time, it looks like our ballot counters are back. We'll take probably a minute or two to get organized so we can announce the winners. right? Okay. All right, our program quality director, our club growth director, and our division director will be presenting the awards to the winners. I'm first happy to announce that there was no disqualifications for time. Actually, I actually don't need this, sorry. All right. We'd like to announce our third place winner, Donna Morosco. All right, was someone taking a photo? Several people taking photos? Okay. All right, he's taking photos there. Okay. One more? Okay. Okay, thank you. Our second place winner is Christopher Sokolowski. Wait, one more. We have official and unofficial photographers today. All right, thank you. All right, everybody. And can we have a drum roll for our first place winner is Mr. Nate Stevens. All right, thank you. I'd like to recognize the dignitaries where they're here for today's contest. First of all, Mr. Russell Drake, past international director and past district director, or district governor, I think would be his. Melissa McGavick, past regional advisor, past international director, past district director, governor. Past district director Michael Dalton. Past district director Stephanie Scott. Past district governor Mike Blazer. And while I don't see in her room, she was here earlier, Dawn Farrell, our special guest and international director for Region 6. Oh, she is. She got back. Oh, you were over there before. Okay. In DTM's all. Oh, and Patty Thor, past district director. I'm so sorry. There we go. No. Last but not least, that is for sure. So thank you. Thank you, everybody else. I would like to thank our Chief Judge, Michael Dalton, DTM. I would like to thank all those wonderful people who volunteered as judges and ballot counters. And we couldn't have done this without Steven Sokolowski doing all the Zoom and the tech and everything else. Thank you. And finally, again, let us congratulate our third, second, and first place winners. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Drake to announce what we're doing next.
Das ist gut. All right, here we go. All right. There we go. One announcement. I need to announce the raffle ticket sales. Who's leading that up? Who's leading up the raffle ticket sales? Addie. Okay, please see Addie for our raffle ticket sales. Lunch is a buffet, which is not set up quite yet. So you get a break before lunch, which is now. We'll see you in a bit.